Hello everyone and welcome. My name Sam ReaN. This is my reflection from my prediction of the EFL Championship. So we'll start from the bottom to the top. So Derby County I predicted as plumb last. Funnily enough, in the actual prediction, as you see, they still got relegated. So if the team is one up or one down, I will add that as 1 point. So Derby County 24th I predicted, and they finished 23rd, so that's a point for me. Derby had all them points deductions, so I did predict them to go plumb last, but they exceeded my predictions, and they did put a fight somewhat throughout the season. So yeah, that's why I predicted them plumb last, but they did do one better. Now here is the next team, and it's a biggie, Huddersfield. Now Huddersfield are in action at the playoff final against Forest. And I mean, the season before they were absolute terrible. So I guess what I'm trying to say is that I couldn't be more wrong with that prediction, and they did end up in the playoffs. So yeah, but my next prediction was Peterborough, and I got another point because Peterborough did finish 22nd, and I did predict that. So 2 points to me so far, which is pretty awesome. Now the next one is a big one. I predicted Forest. They ended up in the final of the playoffs, and the actual result was ReaN. So yeah, I just thought Forest had a lot for them. I mean, before Steve Cooper, I reckon they would have got relegated. But Steve Cooper came in now and basically shot straight up the table. And well done to him. I know, I can't believe I'm saying that, because he was a manager for Swansea, but his background is a person who supports Cardiff, so he's a Cardiff person, and so well done to Steve Cooper, great manager, and good luck in the final. Obviously ReaN, they actually ended up lower than I expected, because in my prediction I had them 15th. So yeah, what can you say with ReaN? They're up and down like a yo-yo. They're never in the playoffs, and they're basically a bottom half team really. So my prediction, next one up is Birmingham. Now Birmingham, I have got Birmingham 20th in the official table, so that's 3 points for me. Birmingham is a team that don't seem to show much throughout the season. They're a team that always languishes near the bottom. I don't know whether that's the ownership, I don't know whether that's the manager, but Birmingham needs to do something to basically help them shoot up the table. Hopefully next year they can. Next one is Hull, so that's another point for me. 3 points I think, or 4, one or the other. So yeah, 4 points actually, yeah. So Hull, they had a poor end to the season, I guess. I mean, I don't know what's wrong with Hull really. It's a bit like Birmingham really, where they languish at the bottom half of the table, but sometimes, like 2 out of 10 times, they can shoot up the table. So Hull, yeah, I have 19th. Yeah. 18th, I have Bristol. Bristol came 17th in real life. In the official EFL table. So I'm going to have that as another point. So that's obviously another point for me. So it's 5 points so far for me. So yeah, Bristol, funny they are. I always see Bristol as someone who can get promotion through the playoffs, but they just never seem to be there and thereabouts really. They did have a strong start to the season, I guess, but they just filtered to the bottom of the table at the end of the season. So hopefully next year could be the year for Bristol. So yeah, I predicted Bristol 18th. Actually, 18th was my team, Cardiff, in real life. So in the actual EFL, why do I say real life? Yeah. So yeah. So in my prediction then, next up I have Preston. My prediction is Preston 17th. The actual prediction was Preston 13th. Now, I somewhat underestimated Preston. They're a funny team as well. I mean, I can't remember the last time they were in the top flight, Preston. That's how poor they've been throughout the years. So, yeah, I don't know about Preston. They're a bit of a yo-yo team. Like, sometimes they can nearly reach the playoffs, but sometimes they don't. Majority of the time, anyway. So, yeah, Preston, good season, I guess, staying where they are, but 13th is not that great, really. So yeah. Next up in my predictions, we have Coventry, who I predicted 16th. Coventry ended up 12th. Now, out of the promoted teams, I always had Coventry to do the best, or not do as worst as someone like Peterborough, someone who has a relatively small team. So yeah, Coventry, good team, good outfit, and hopefully they can shoot up the table next year. Obviously 12th is a good finish for them after getting promotion, of course. So yeah, I like Coventry, they're a good team. So yeah, my prediction, Coventry. ReaN, of course, we talked about, they have been terrible this season. So yeah, plus obviously ReaN had former Bluebird Junior Toilet, as I say, but he's done alright for ReaN, Hoylett, and yeah, I don't know what else to say for ReaN really. And in my predictions, I had Luton 14th, they ended up being 6th. So Luton is a good team, I like Luton. They're a bit like Bournemouth in the sense that they got a small team, they got a small stadium, and they're just always like, no one expects huge things from Luton, and obviously they've been underestimated for a while. So yeah, good that Luton made the playoffs. Maybe next year they can reach, I don't know, higher. Who knows? But I'm expecting big things for Luton next year. Let's just say that. And yeah. Next up, in my predictions, we do have Stoke in 13th. In reality, Stoke became 14th. That's another point for me, I guess. They're another side which they did look promising when they reached the playoffs. But nearer the end of the season, they didn't have enough depth within their squad to make a push for the playoffs at the end. I obviously expect Stoke to be there and thereabouts next season because they are a team waiting for Premiership football, but anything is possible with Stoke. So yeah. The next team I have is Millwall 12th in the actual table. They did end up in 9th. Now, Millwall, similar to teams like Stoke, Preston, they're just there really, aren't they? They almost got to the playoffs, of course, but it needed to be a mammoth task for them to do well. So, yeah, Millwall, good team. In theory, they should do well next year, but I am not holding my breath. Next up, of course, we have the Jacks. Who can forget the Jacks doing a certain thing against Cardiff for some in history, of course, but if you take that away from this season for Swansea, they did have a better end to the season than Cardiff, unfortunately. Of course, I predicted Swansea to finish 11th, but in reality, they finished 15th. So, both Swansea and Cardiff in joint statement here, they both did have a very, very underachieving poor seasons. So I'm expecting both teams to shoot up the table next year. Of course, it's been rebuilding, and for Cardiff it's been just getting rid of the manager, because if we still had Mick McCarthy, he would have sent us straight all the way down to League One. And for Swansea, who have had a new manager in, they did have a yo-yo type season where they reach a certain ceiling in the table, and then they couldn't get anywhere near that end position. They don't even have the consistency to win the games, so that's something to work on for the Jacks next season. And yeah, I'm expecting Swansea and Cardiff both to get up there next year. So yeah, next up is I predicted QPR in 10th. In reality, they got 11th. So I guess I'll get another point. So yeah, QPR, good team. They did fight amongst in the playoffs throughout the season, threatening top 2 at one point, and then just shot all the way down to 11th. Now, QPR are a team that will do well next season. Obviously, they got the squad, they got all the ingredients there to push up the top of the table. But with teams like Norwich and Watford coming down, and potentially, of course, Burnley, Everton or Leeds, that's going to be tough for anyone. So yeah, QPR, good season though, I guess, but under average. Next up, Blackburn, I had 9th. 8th they were in general. They were pretty average end to the season. They did look good for 2nd, but they've somehow petered down the table, which is unfortunate for Blackburn, because I like Blackburn. I want them to get promoted, but they never did. So yeah. Next up, of course, it is Cardiff City. Now, as I adjust my mic. Yeah, Cardiff City, of course, I predicted 8th. They ended up all the way down in 18th. So 10 positions difference. Cardiff, very, very poor season. A bit of a good end to the season, despite the losses. There is a lot of rebuilding that is going to happen and is happening at this stage, with signing 2 players already. So yeah, there's a lot of up to 15 players set to leave and 15 players set to join. So I don't know, but as long as we keep our youngsters firing at all cylinders, then I believe Cardiff has a bright future. Now, this could be even better if a certain Gareth Bale joined Cardiff. Now, if I'm not gonna shout anything at the moment, but Bale will be joining Cardiff if, and that's a big if my home team, my country, Wales, beat either Ukraine or Scotland in the European playoff places in the final at Cardiff City Stadium. So, if Wales qualify for the World Cup, Bale will most likely join Cardiff, and that could be only good signs for the future for the Bluebirds. So yeah, 18th though this season. Mick McCarthy deserved to go after lose about 10 games in a row. So yeah, I guess we have good management now. There is a bit of a kerfuffle between ownership of the club and Cardiff City Supporters Trust, which I'm not gonna go into for obvious reasons. But yeah, it is gonna be a good summer, I feel, for the Bluebirds. So next step is 7th Middlesbrough and 7th Middlesbrough. I had Middlesbrough just missing out on the playoffs, and I'd be happy to collect another point for that. So yeah, Middlesbrough is a team that had Neil Warnock in. Then he left. Then Eddie Howe, then the former Sheffield United manager came in, and he's probably done a good job at Borough. So yeah, I'm expecting good things for Middlesbrough next season. I mean, yeah, they were close but no cigar this year, but I don't have any worries for Borough next season. They'll be up there and thereabouts, really. So yeah, so this is where I had a bit of an issue. I did have Blackpool to make the playoffs. In reality, they were 16th. Now, I have obviously fond memories of Blackpool beating Cardiff at the playoff final, which was terrible. I was at that game. After we scored, they scored, so it was terribly high-driven drama. So yeah, it's terrible. But in this season, I always thought Blackpool would do better than any of the promoted sides, just because they basically they're more adaptive. They're more used to playing in the Championship than Coventry or Peterborough. But they're similar, really, Blackpool and Coventry. So yeah, Blackpool 6th, I predicted. They ended up 16th. So yeah. Next up, Sheffield United, which they did end up 5th. Which I'd take another point if that's okay. But Sheffield, I expected in the playoffs. I thought that Fulham and Bournemouth would be too much for Sheffield United, who, let's be fair, had a poor Premier League season before. So I don't know, but of course, Sheffield did have a good-ish season this season, despite not getting top 2. Now, the next one is a bit weird, but Barnsley I had 4th, Forest was 4th, but Barnsley in reality got relegated plumb last. So the season before this season, Barnsley were excellent, but we'd never. I bet you a handful of YouTubers had Barnsley near or nearabouts, but overall, yeah, poor season for Barnsley, a season to forget as well. Next up was Fulham. Fulham ended up first. Bournemouth and West Brom. West Brom had a terrible season. They had absolute poor season. So yeah, it's terrible for West Brom. Excellent if you are a fan of Fulham and Bournemouth, who I expect to stay up next season from the relegation. Normally you get teams like Norwich, Fulham and Watford go up and down the leagues like a yo-yo club. So hopefully Fulham can cement their Premier League status in the top flight. But if they don't, it's not the end of the world. They can always bounce back the season after. Bournemouth, similar team. They could become a yo-yo team, but they're not yet. But they, if they can stay up next season, then I'm expecting someone like Southampton to go down, really, or maybe an Everton to go down. I mean, they could go down this year, Everton. So yeah, but overall, yeah, good end to the season. That is it for today. Thank you all for listening to anything and everything football. And yeah, I will of course see you guys, or talk to you guys at least, next time. Subscribe, like, comment and share. Thank you for watching. My name is ReaN. This is my reflection of my prediction in the EFL. Thank you and goodbye. And you can't put up a fight in the misty light.